progressive in nature, modified Medical Research Council Grade 3 dyspnea, aggravated on exertion and relieved on rest, no postural and diurnal variation, not associated with post paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea and orthopnea. History of loss of appetite for past 4 days. No history of chest pain. No history of hemoptysis. No history of wheeze. No history of recurrent respiratory tract infections. No history of halitosis. No history of postnasal drip. No history of weight loss. No history of night sweats. No history of sleepiness. No history of swelling of legs. No history of abdominal distension.
Okay, okay. We will wait here. Don't go for the past history. Okay, right. So this is the patient admitted with
Fever,
system involvement.
respiratory system.
This is a patient with acute febrile illness, pointing towards the respiratory system, isn't it?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just before we continue, just one more thing is, see, this is only 5 days duration we are talking about. Recurrent respiratory tract infection, it is a past history. Never mention that here.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So
Okay,
that you can mention in the past history. Right. And good. So otherwise you completed everything. Very good. Okay. Right. So
Okay.
you are going symptom by symptom. You said about the fever. You said it's a continuous fever. Did he take
Yes,
any
ma'am.
medication or no medication at all?
He took
Any
only
antipyretics?
antipyretics, ma'am. Paracetamol he took.
In spite of the antipyretics, the fever was continuous, is it?
Yes, ma'am. I mean,
So
it
it never
subsided.
came down to the, pardon?
No, ma'am, it subsided once he took the medicine.
Yeah,
After
that you
which
have to
again the fever.
mention. Yeah, you cannot say it is a continuous fever, isn't it? So once you
Okay.
give the medications, its temperature comes down. So
Okay.
because you know the types of fever. What are all the types of fever?
Continuous fever, remittent fever, intermittent fever,
Mm-hmm.
and then relapsing type of fever, ma'am.
Mm.
We can
What is
also have
Pellepsin
drug.
fever? Mm.
Relapsing fever is seen in malaria, wherein there will be periods of normal
Relapsing fever in
temperature.
malaria.
Yes,
Relapsing
ma'am.
fever in malaria. That is very uncommon, ma.
Tertian benign.
That is intermittent.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
See, there
Normal
is
temperatures between elevated body temperature. Uh, Normal temperature for more than 1 or 2 days in relapsing fever, ma'am. So how can it not be malaria, ma'am?
see, what is relapsing fever? What is intermittent fever?
Intermittent fever is decreasing of the body temperature below the basal, normal temperature is intermittent fever.
Okay. Have
During
you seen any patient with a malaria?
only one time, ma'am, during
You are
second
seeing,
year.
isn't it? So he was having temperature once in 3 days, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you saw the patient with once in 3 days fever.
No, ma'am, I can't remember the history, no, ma'am. I'm just asking, ma'am. I don't know.
Okay. So it's all for the just for the sake of saying all those things. Okay. That is 90% presentation is like that. That's what they say. The teaching is so cotton fever, tertian fever, all those things. But actually, so how does the fever start in malaria? What is the pattern of the fever? Apart from your quotidian fever, tertian fever. So what is the way it present the fever?
Body temperature increases, after which there will be sweating.
First thing, what is the stage? What are the stages of malarial fever?
I can't recall, ma'am.
You have to know all these are the common things where you cannot make mistakes.
Okay, ma'am.
So anybody, Kiran, Yaneshwar? So fever is that we are talking about all this Pellepsin fever and about the other things. Relapsing fever where the common conditions is what is it? The spirochetal disease. I just forgot. Okay, this I'll get that later. Okay, so these are all
And Borrelia burgdorferi. Borrelia
Borrelia and all.
burgdorferi.
So this is uncommon. So what are the stages of the malarial fever? What is the initial stage?
Ma'am, cold stage, ma'am.
Yeah, the first thing is a cold stage. Then only you get the hot stage, the fever. Okay, so in the fever itself, so many diagnoses you can make.
Okay, ma'am.
So the area is also very gray in the fever. Okay, there are so many conditions which could not be diagnosed. That's why we come to the thing fever of unknown origin or pyrexia of unknown origin is a terminology. Okay, so
Yes,
for
ma'am.
that you should basically we should know what are the commonest thing we present with the common conditions. Then also which system it points to, you have to mark it out. Like how nicely you brought out this patient is associated with the cough with expectoration. It's excellent. Okay, first thing is you should make an attempt to find out what type of the fever it is.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so whether it's a cold stage comes first or the patient themselves feel very hot, and you should know the mechanism for the what is the rigors, what is chills. Okay, so whether it is a C, is a, what do you mean by the rigors?
Rigor is a profound chill, ma'am. It is present. It is due to increased body temperature, because of which the patient feel cold sensation, and there will be piloerection in the patient, ma'am.
So is that all or anything else? So how do you differentiate
Shivering will be there, ma'am.
shivering and then anything else? So how do you differentiate chills and rigors in the history?
Rigors, there will be involuntary shaking movements.
Shaking. So the patient has to be covered with few blankets also.
Extra
Okay,
clothing.
yeah, that's the main thing. So read about the fever separately. Okay, fever is not a simple thing. It can be asked in the exam theory also. Okay, so fever,
Okay.
pyrexia of unknown origin, acute febrile illness with so many differences, like febrile illness with the lymphadenopathy, febrile illness with the rashes, and the same way. Okay, what is something else you want to say? Fever mechanism of the fever. Okay, so we'll have a separate topic once. Okay, once probably when we meet again, right? So small PowerPoint I need for the fever, right? Okay, carry on. Yes, why no diurnal variation for the fever?
Ma'am, if there is tuberculosis, we can say there's even
No
rise of
evening rise
temperature.
of temperature. Don't say that no diurnal variation. The meaning is different. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
be specific. There is no evening rise of temperature. Okay,
Okay,
that
ma'am.
is very, very important, right? And again, this is not continuous fever. You have to say that one. So you should know what are the types of fever, and for that fever, what are the common conditions associated with that. That also you should make it. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, very good. Yes. The regarding the cough with the, what is cough basically? Can you define cough?
Cough is nothing but a reflex action of forceful expiration against a closed glottis, ma'am.
It's a protective mechanism. Okay, it's not a reflex action alone. It is a protective mechanism. Okay, can you explain it more? Somebody else? I know it's a forced expiration against closed glottis. Before the closure of the glottis, what else happened? Anybody?
Contraction of respiratory muscle.
A contraction only causing the forced expiration, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Initially
Initially,
deep
deep
inspiration,
inspiration, ma'am.
Yeah, there is a deep inspiration, right? Yes. And where you
Then-
get a positive intrathoracic pressure. So you are at the end of the inspiration, with the closure of the glottis, you are going to have the pressure gradient between from the inside as well as outside atmospheric pressure, right? So with that pressure difference, you have the contraction of your respiratory muscles. It forces whatever the foreign body or the fumes or whatever the irritant factors, it is going to be pushed out, okay, in the form of the cough.
Okay,
Get the
ma'am.
point? Yes. So it is basically a protective mechanism, right? Yes. So here you said the patient is having yellow colored sputum. So what does it mean?
Can be bacterial, ma'am.
Infection. Yes, agreed. Very good. So the infection is moderate amount. What do you mean by the moderate amount?
Moderate amount as in Less than 100 ml of sputum.
Uh, so that's all for the hemoptysis, ma. We never say this is for the 100 ml, 200 ml, all those things. Yes. So usually, basically, whether it is a mild, okay, very scanty, okay,
Okay.
very small, very difficult to this the sometimes this is what to say actually, just for the theory you cannot quantify basically, okay, so very
Okay.
scarce, and where it is difficult to spit it out, very thick sputum you get in the bronchial asthma, okay,
Okay.
and whether this patient has got a, you can mention in the tea cups or something like, okay, he's bringing out daily, so 1 cup or 2 cups, something like that, right? So if the patient is bringing out large quantity, okay, so two
Yes, ma'am.
three cups actually, then you can say the patient is having some kind of
Bronchiectasis.
suppurative lung disease, bronchiectasis, excellent. So the patient is having that. And then you can mention it's not simply it's a moderate amount. What is moderate for you may be large for me or mild for me. Okay, just say that one. Try to find out,
Okay,
right?
ma'am.
And something else I want to say. It's a mucopurulent inconsistency, right? Okay, it's not foul smelling, not blood stained. Very good. What is triple layered sputum?
I don't know, ma'am.
You don't know. That's okay. Anybody else? You
Ma'am, it's
already
seen in bronchiectasis, ma'am.
yes, yes, very good.
Yes, ma'am. Foamy upper layer, then purulent bottom layer, ma'am.
Purulent, which is
Yes,
going to
ma'am.
be gravitating down.
The purulent layer, ma'am.
Purulent, naturally, isn't it? So the
Yes,
thick
ma'am.
tenacious, this is the one, isn't it? So this is going to be the purulent sputum is going to be the bottom layer. In between it is going to be mucopurulent, and then top of it will be mucoid. This is very classic for the bronchiectasis. It's a triple layered. Okay, so but you can anytime, see, sometimes you cannot, if you ask the patient will be telling you all their complaints. It's not reliable, so basically you should give the cup, or you should see by yourself, okay, bedside, what is the type of the, what is the type of the what is the color of the sputum, what is the quantity of the sputum, everything you have to observe. Okay,
Okay,
so
ma'am.
if you, yes, it's very important. And even for the blood stain, it can be streaky or it can be frank blood also. Okay, so that also by you have to assure, we have to assess before assurance. That's okay. We have to assess, right? It's very
Okay, ma'am.
very important. Okay, what does you mean by the diurnal and postural variation?
Diurnal variation usually will be seen in asthmatic patients where cough will be more in the night time, ma'am.
Okay,
And
but again, you
CEC,
should be saying no diurnal variation for the cough. Okay, very good. Yes,
whereas in postural variation in bronchiectasis, ma'am, due
very good.
to defective mucociliary clearance, whenever they change position, the sputum will come, ma'am.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, right. Diurnal variation both for the bronchial asthma as well as COPD. Okay, both of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Yes. Okay, right. So, by the way, just simple question for the cough is what is the mechanism for the, I mean, innovation for the cough? Is there any, is
Ma'am,
there
J
is
receptors.
mm,
J receptors, ma'am. Vagal nerve endings.
mm,
They're the
that's not only
afferents, ma'am.
vagus or any other nerves?
Recurrent laryngeal, ma'am.
Recurrent laryngeal nerve is output, isn't it? There should be some sensory and then some motor.
Even Arnold's nerve, ma'am, in the external auditory canal.
Mm. So basically, what
Internal
is that?
laryngeal nerve,
It is,
which is
pardon?
supplying the sense. Internal laryngeal nerve, ma'am, which supplies the pharynx. These are sensory component.
Okay. Recurrent laryngeal is motor. What is sensory and what is motor? That's all. Simple question.
Laryngeal is sensory, ma'am.
Mm.
Motor
Laryngeal.
will be, yes, ma'am.
Mm.
And
So
phrenic
laryngeal,
nerves,
what nerve it is? What is the branch? Which branch it is?
vagus nerve, ma'am.
Vagus. So it is only from the vagus, or glossopharyngeal also play a role? Is it only vagus? Just find out,
Yes,
okay?
ma'am.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
ma'am.
It's all simple physiology. You should know that one. Very good. Yes. So now this patient is having fever, cough with expectoration. Okay, very good. Right. Then he has got breathlessness, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. So dyspnea, acute dyspnea, right? Yes.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
does it imply? That acute dyspnea.
Ma'am?
What does it imply? What is the significance of developing breathlessness?
Breathlessness can be due to common infections. I mean, acute infections or ARDS
Acute
can be.
infection, patient has got fever, okay. What is the system involved? Pointing towards a cough with expectoration is respiratory system. What is this dyspnea?
Dyspnea uncomfortable need to breathe, ma'am.
Yeah, agreed. In what way it is significant in this patient? And what does it imply?
Increased work of breathing.
This
I
patient
mean,
is
it
getting
involves
sick.
lung is involved, ma'am.
Extents of the lung involvement, ma. So it says the patient is very sick. Okay, what is curb scoring? CURB. What is curb? Curb 65.
It is scoring
Ma'am,
to severity of the pneumonia, ma'am.
Mm.
So the C denotes confusion, and U
Mm.
denotes urea, R denotes
Mm.
respiratory rate, and A
Mm.
denotes aging.
Mm. B says, what is
Sorry,
B?
ma'am.
What is
B
B?
says blood pressure, ma'am.
What blood pressure?
Blood pressure is hypotension, basically.
Hypotension. So this is systolic BP less than 90. Okay, you should be
Yes.
very specific. You cannot be simply saying. Same way,
Okay.
respiratory rate more than,
More than 20, 20
what is the
20
normal
breaths per
respiratory
minute.
rate?
14 to 16 breaths
16.
per minute.
Okay. So more than 35. Respiratory rate more than 35. Okay. So when the patient is having difficulty in breathing or breathlessness, it say patient is going in for the severity. Okay. Where the patient need to be admitted to the critical care. That's where there is a discrimination. Okay. So it is saying the patient is going in for the severe progression of the disease. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So simply just saying fever, cough, and also the difficulty in breathing, not only with the severe extent of the lesion, it could be also complication.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So one you said about the pneumonia. What else can cause difficulty in breathing in this patient?
Anemia, hypox. In this patient, ma'am, pleural effusion can cause.
Yes, exactly. The complication with the pleural effusion. Exactly. So whether the patient in going in for the syndemonic effusion, or patient is having the separately, differently, also he has got complication as a pleural effusion, whether he have to differentiate. So difficulty in breathing doesn't mean it's not part of the pneumonia. They're going in for the severity, assessing the severity and complication. You have to say that one. What else they can have, the patient? So you said about the pleural involvement. So what could be the other symptoms they can have with the pleural involvement?
Chest pain, ma'am. Pleuritic pain.
Pleuritic pain. So don't say chest pain alone. It's a pleuritic pain. Excellent. So you said that complaint already, but you mentioned about the pleuritic pain. What is the pleuritic pain?
It is a stabbing type of chest pain which doesn't get relieved even at rest, ma'am. And it's usually
Stabbing
localized
pain.
to sharp pain.
Short pain. So can it be better? Can you describe better?
Sharp knife-like.
Sharp knife-like. Anybody else?
Stabbing pain, which is seen during deep inspiration.
Kiran, I can't hear you well.
Stabbing pain during deep inspiration, ma'am. It's a catching.
Stabbing pain. Stabbing pain na for MI pa. Stab. What is stab? It is mainly. Anybody else?
ma'am, the patient will wince with pain on deep inspiration and coughing.
Innother solpa.
Ma'am, the patient will wince with pain on deep inspiration and coughing.
What type of pain?
Catchy pain.
Catchy pain. Okay, it catches. So they are not allowing to breathe completely. Okay, so it's not a sharp pain, it's not a stabbing pain, it is not a pressure, something like, okay, so not a burning pain. This is basically a catching pain. They start breathing because both the pleura, it has been inflamed, not allowing to expand the lungs. Okay, so patient is having difficulty in breathing, and they'll have the severe pain. It's a catchy pain, okay, and stopping midway in the during the deep inspiration. That's very typical thing. So it's also called devil's grip. It's a typical disease called what is devil's grip? By the way, anybody know? It's a Coxsackie infection of a pleurisy. Okay, it's a viral infection.
Bonham's
Coxsackie
disease,
virus, no?
Ma'am, is it Bonham's disease?
Bonham's disease, excellent. Okay, right? Caused by the Coxsackie virus, excellent. So where the patient can have the difficulty in breathing. So this is like a grip. It's a catchy pain. So it's called devil's grip. Also, it is explained, right? Okay, very good. Yes, go ahead.
MMRC grade 3 dyspnea.
Why again it's diurnal variation, postural variation for difficulty in breathing, ma? So again for the asthma you're talking about, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Simply you cannot put all those things, ma. You should know. What is the postural variation for the difficulty in breathing? That is for the PND.
Yes, ma'am.
No. Don't use the words unnecessarily. Okay. So you should be very clear with that. No diurnal variation. Okay, agreed. Don't say postural variation because you already mentioned about not associated with the PND and orthopnea, isn't it? So what does it say? Why you want to say there is no PND and orthopnea?
To rule out cardiac causes. ma'am.
Yeah. So this is not cardiac. What we are discussing is mainly the respiratory system. Excellent. Okay. Good. Yes. Very good. Okay. So what are the common cardinal symptoms for the respiratory system? You have mentioned everything, agree, but just want you to enumerate.
Cough.
Very
Cough
good.
with or without expectoration.
Super.
Then there will be dyspnea,
Okay.
chest pain, wheeze,
Okay. Chest pain,
hemoptysis,
pleuritic pain. Mention again pleuritic pain. Yes. Mm.
pleuritic pain, hemoptysis, wheezing, with or
Mm.
without fever. ma'am.
V's அப்புறம் வேற என்ன?
Again, with or without fever.
With or without constitutional symptoms. Okay, so just say constitutional symptoms like evening rise of temperature, loss of weight, loss of appetite. So that's going to be a complete. Okay, very good. Right. Yes, continue.
You have halitosis, no issue, post-nasal drip.
So what is massive hemoptysis?
More than 100 ml of blood when it is ejected, it's called as massive hemoptysis.
More than 100 ml?
Blood is ejected per episode. You can call
Per
it as
episode? Per episode. So you want every episode having 100 ml? So it's 100 to 600 ml in 24 hours.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, it's 100 to 600 ml in 24 hours. How do you differentiate from hematemesis?
By color, ma'am, it's bright red and it will be black. Like brownish
Okay,
black
very
in
good.
color.
Yes,
So
excellent.
hematin. And then the cough precedes hemoptysis, whereas vomiting precedes hematemesis.
Very good.
Then if we ask the history, melena will be absent in hemoptysis, whereas melena
Okay.
can be present in
Okay.
hematemesis. And again, in the hematemesis, it will be frothy in nature, whereas hematemesis will not be frothy. Hemoptysis will be frothy. Hematemesis might not be frothy. The blood might not be frothy in nature.
Okay, ma. What else? What is something else? Is what media? What is the pH?
pH is alkaline for hemoptysis and acidic in hematemesis.
Yes, okay, very good. Yes. So, what are the common causes for the? Enumerate some causes the massive hemoptysis.
Will be malignancy. Will be first cause.
Malignancy. Enna malignancy? Why malignancy?
Bronchial carcinoma. ma'am.
Bronchial carcinoma.
Bronchogenic carcinoma.
Bronchogenic carcinoma. Then அவ்வளவுதானா? Anybody? Quickly.
The metastasis to the lung.
Yanishwar, yes?
Metastasis to the lung. Lung
Metastasis. Where?
Pulmonary infarction.
Where?
Pulmonary infarction, ma'am.
Pulmonary massive hemoptysis. I am not asking the question hemoptysis. I am asking
aortic aneurysm.
நம்ம இன்னும் இதுலயே இருக்கோம்ப்பா, லங்ல தான் இருக்கோம். We need go to the
trauma, ma'am.
Massive hemoptysis, only 3-4 causes, that's all. And why? That is the question. Because the major airways, okay, they get the supply from the bronchial arteries, which is under systemic pressure. So the bronchitis, okay, bronchiectasis, bronchogenic carcinoma, okay, these are the common conditions where you get the massive hemoptysis. Okay, whereas the lung getting the supply from the pulmonary supply circulation. So where the either from the what's that? Where do you get the pulmonary artery? I'm sorry, nane confuse pandren. Right. Where do they get the circulation from? Pulmonary parenchyma?
Bronchial arteries.
Bronchial artery landa. Bronchial artery landa main and directed from the major airways thanappa. That is why we are talking. They are under systemic pressure. We are bringing out the massive hemoptysis. Whereas in case of pneumonia, pulmonary infarction, they don't get the massive hemoptysis, isn't it? Tuberculosis, lung abscess, these are the other conditions. Okay, their circulation is from the internal thoracic. The artery is supplied. See, again, basically all these things attached to the connected to the physiology. So the physiology, pathology is only the medicine. Okay, should not forget the physiology. Right, the medicine become very easy if we learn the proper physiology. Okay. Hello, Swati.
Okay,
do you hear me? Okay, I may be wrong. Okay, just get me corrected. What is the circulation the lung parenchyma is getting from? Okay.
Bronchial artery, ma'am.
Bronchial artery dana? Lung parenchyma ka?
Ma'am, 90% pulmonary circulation, 10% bronchial circulation, ma'am.
The pulmonary circulation that's what I'm asking. Suddenly I'm going big.
Pulmonary trunk.
Pulmonary trunk. Okay, so their correct thanappa, naan nee solradha vechi edha sollaliye, right? No.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. So that's what we were stressing upon. So the systemic circulation, the bronchial supply, okay, bronchial arteries, okay, so they innervate the larger airways. That's why the patient, when they go, the patient with the bronchitis, bronchiectasis, bronchogenic carcinoma, or even some METs, endobronchial metastasis, all these things will bring out massive hemoptysis. Right? Whereas the patients with the other diseases, what we are mentioning about pneumonia, okay, pulmonary infarction, pulmonary embolism, or tuberculosis, suppurative lung disease, all these things will have the mild to moderate. That's very common thing. Okay. Any other apart from the lung diseases, any other condition they'll have the hemoptysis?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What are they?
Mitral stenosis might present.
Okay, very good. Where the patient will have the pulmonary apoplexy, okay, because of the pulmonary venous pressure is elevated, right? Not with the pulmonary arteries, so pulmonary venous pressure. Then
Pulmonary hypertension.
Pulmonary artery hypertension we never get. Only pulmonary venous. Vein only very thin, they rupture. But the artery is going to be thick, they don't. Okay, right. Then
Aortic aneurysm.
Sattama.
Aortic aneurysm, ma'am.
Aortic aneurysm. Aortic aneurysm, unless otherwise, okay, in the anterior mediastinum, there is a compression and that erosion of the aortic aneurysm into the trachea. Nearby structures only will bring out. Otherwise, they don't. Okay. So aortic aneurysms are as such it will have the pain like a MI, myocardial pain. They will go for dissection, they'll have the myocardial pain. They don't just like that produce hemoptysis. Okay.
Ma'am, AV malformation, ma'am.
Very good. AV malformation, very good. So again, when we talk about hemoptysis, you have to group like respiratory. Under respiratory, what are all the bronchial problems? What are all the pulmonary parenchymal and pulmonary vascular? You get the point? That's how you have to group. Then we can find out few causes under each heading, right? And other than respiratory, now your AV malformation is going to be pulmonary vascular. Apart from that, any other condition?
Vascular disease.
Vasculitis, okay.
Good pastures.
Good posture syndrome, again, very good. Okay, good posture syndrome, vaginous granulomatosis. Okay, so again, it's a vasculitis only. So, where the patient have the extrapulmonary causes for the causes of hemoptysis. What else is very important nowadays? Other things.
Bleeding disorder.
Bleeding, okay, very good. Bleeding manifested coagulation problems or bleeding manifestation. So always look for the, now you said fever, isn't it? So when the patient is having fever, and again, what is the pandemic going on now?
COVID-19.
Fungal infections.
Yeah, so the infection could be not only bacterial, it could be viral infection also. So hemoptysis, now it's more of rather than the history here is the thrombotic history, isn't it? Where the patient go for the pulmonary thromboembolism producing hemoptysis rather than the pneumonia causing the rusty sputum.
Okay.
Am I right? Hello, Swati?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Any other condition? Yes. Apart from that. Apart from the coagulation, bleeding mechanism, anything else? Bleeding diagnosis, anything else?
Congenital causes,
Drug-
ma'am.
Important history, ma. We're talking about history. Yes.
Drug induced.
Yes. Never forget anticoagulant medication. Okay. Nowadays, patients are on aspirin. Patients are on the warfarin. Okay. You never know. So now the patient is having left and right. They are having either the what is it? Prosthetic valve.
Stent placement.
Okay, either the prosthetic valve or patient having hypercoagulability states. Okay, on anticoagulant. So should get a history whether the patient is on anticoagulation or not. So if you stop the medication, they'll get better. Unnecessarily putting the patient for other investigation. Should get the history properly. Okay, very good. Yes, go ahead with the past history. Can they have seizures, ma? Just simple question. Can they have seizures?
Seizures and delirium. Febrile seizures can be seen in children, ma'am.
Okay, only febrile seizures. Yes. With the respiratory system, they should not have seizures, is it? Hypoxia. Hypoxia per se can cause seizures. Okay. So don't think they cannot have. Right. Yes.
Past history.
Hmm.
No history of similar illness in
Okay,
the
one
past.
more simple question. Okay. Just before you go for that. Okay, so you said this is a patient with a fever, with a cough with expectoration producing moderate. I say it's a large quantity also they are producing. Suddenly the patient complain of headache. Okay, and confusion and also throwing seizures. What is the problem patient is having?
It can be musculoskeletal disease.
Huh?
Musculoskeletal disease, ma'am.
Musculoskeletal. Fever, headache, seizures I'm talking. The
Meningitis.
underlying respiratory system, what is it, ma? Swati?
Can be meningitis, ma'am.
Meningitis. What meningitis? Maybe.
Malaria, ma'am.
Having neck pain, all those things, isn't it? Yes. Anybody?
Any encephalitis?
Malaria, ma'am.
Malaria, they can have the manifestation, okay? but typical respiratory system and not extension of the fever illness. I am talking about some respiratory problem having complication, like how we said.
Atypical pneumonia, ma'am. Atypical pneumonia.
Atypical pneumonia. See, viral pneumonia has got varied manifestation. Okay, so it can involve any other system, all the system, even having they can have diarrhea. Can they have diarrhea? Diarrhea, vomiting?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. See, now you have seen in COVID, isn't it? So everything is possible. This is a scenario pertinent to the complication of the respiratory system. So I already said fever. I said cough is not only fever. Cough with expectoration. Okay. So with the large quantities of sputum patient is bringing out. Now having fever, headache and seizures. Anybody?
Bronchoalveolar carcinoma, which metastasized to the brain.
Any malignancy meds, okay. Then why should they have the fever and they can have the altered sensorium seizures? Agreed. Fever. I said fever.
Yes.
Tubercular meningitis.
Huh?
Tubercular meningitis.
Bronchiectasis causing the brain abscess. Is it not the complication of the bronchiectasis, brain abscess? Hello.
Ma'am?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Yes. So one of the complication for the bronchiectasis is brain abscess. Okay. So in the CNS, if there is a brain abscess, so not only the source of infection there, you have to look for where they come from. Okay. So one of the thing is bronchiectasis. Please remember that. Right. Yes. So other things we already mentioned about massive hemoptysis and the whether recurrent infections that patient having, and then what else they can have in bronchiectasis. By the way, what are other complications?
Pneumothorax. Lung
Okay,
abscess.
yes.
Empyema.
Empyema, agreed. Then
Lung abscess.
okay, lung abscess separate thing. Okay, bronchiectasis.
Amyloidosis.
Amyloidosis. Okay, before that, anything else?
Cor pulmonale.
Super. They can have a heart pulmonale. Excellent. Anything else? See, I'm just asking one by one. You have to enumerate quickly. Yes. They can have hypoalbuminemia. Okay. So it's a protein loss will be there definitely. So the patient can have the not only the swelling of the legs due to the right heart failure, secondary to carpulmonale, they can also have the volume overload due to hypoalbuminemia. Okay, so protein loss is extensive there. So simple things. This may look very simple, but where the treatment is very important. Okay, just read the common things, common complications, any disease, any problems. We learn the common things, then you should not forget the uncommon things also. Okay, right. Okay, ma'am, carry on.
Past history. Of simple ill past. No history of hospitalization in the past 90 days. No history of transfusions.
Why blood transfusion? For the fever, cough with expectoration. Why blood transfusion, ma?
Blood transfusions can sometimes cause bacterial infections. HIV can
Name some conditions. Name the respiratory condition related to the blood transfusion.
in case of IV drug abuses, there can be
IV drug abuse is separate. You said blood transfusion. See, we should not give the wrong information, ma.
okay, ma'am.
Okay. See, malaria can be transmitted through the blood transfusion. Okay. And when we say something that really should mean, and we are learning from that, please understand that. Okay. So because of the blood transfusion, we can have the high fever. Okay. Because of the release of neutrophils, the patient can have that is the acute reaction.
Okay.
Okay. You should be very clear. What are all the blood transfusion reaction? We should know what is immediate and what is delayed. And what are all the infection which is transmitted through the blood transfusion also, we should know. Simply we should not say that one. And please remember whenever you say, okay, so there could be history of blood transfusion previously maybe treated for any hemoptysis, or it could be for the bleeding diabetes. They could be, or for anemia, they could be treated. That is why you can ask.
Okay.
Okay, it may not be relevant, to the cause. It can be for the treatment. You get the point?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, simply we should not put that thing. We should know why we are saying that one. Yes, then?
Not a known case of diabetes mellitus, hypertension, bronchial asthma, and tuberculosis.
So in what way diabetes is related to in respiratory system?
In case of immunocompromisation, they might
Very good.
develop
Might develop what?
pneumonia caused by
Just pneumonia. It's just pneumonia.
they can also have chronic kidney diseases.
Chronic kidney.
Fungal infections they can have
Enema?
fungal infections, ma'am.
Fungal infection.
Yes, ma'am.
Tuberculosis is very common in diabetes. Okay, tuberculosis is common in diabetes, alcoholic, and people living in homeless people. Okay, so and then we know the other PLHA patients, other immunocombi, or even patients with chronic kidney disease, which is other immunocompromised state. But you should simply saying immunocompromised and this disease, we should know what is common. Again and again, I'm saying that one. Okay, right. So you said no known drug allergy. What is that? What are the drugs which can cause cough?
Drugs which can cause cough, ma'am.
Can the drug cause cough?
I don't know, ma'am.
ACE inhibitors.
ACE inhibitors.
Yes, Ganeshwar?
ACE inhibitors, ma'am.
AC inhibitor, exactly. Okay, so AC inhibitors within 1 week. Remember that. Within starting of the drug, within a week, not immediately, at least within a week they can have the cough. Okay, but ARB, angiotensin receptor blocker, why is it, what is the mechanism behind that?
Bradykinin release.
Bradykinin, yes. Okay, so because of the release of bradykinin. So there's not much of bradykinin release with the ARB. Okay, so the enalapril, captopril, these are the drugs which can cause cough. Whereas the telmisartan, olmesartan, these are the other ARB, angiotensin receptor blocker. They don't release that much of bradykinin, so cough is less with them. Okay, right. What else you should ask in the past history or recent history? At least there should be. These are the small, kind of things.
Recent antibiotic intake.
Why recent antibiotic intake?
Because we would not be able to identify organism, ma'am.
That's okay. Recent antibiotic intake. What else you should ask? Recent hospitalization. Okay. So whether any procedures being done. Okay. So whether hospital acquired infections. Right?
Contact with COVID patients, ma'am.
Contact with COVID patients, excellent. Yes. One day this patient is producing the sputum. It's what to say, the bacterial infection. It looks like, but still we have to find out. Yes, because sepsis is possible with that is the end stage of the COVID disease, isn't it? So in the staging, they can develop in sepsis. They can end up in sepsis also. So contact, very good. Yes. Then what else? Travel history, very important. Not only contact. Travel to the areas where some diseases are epidemic or endemic. Okay, right? Apart from that,
occupation history can be asked.
Yes, very good. So why you didn't ask that? Huh?
No, I've asked
What occupation? Huh?
Actually, occupation history, contact history, I've put
What
it
is
in
the occupational history? Man, simply you're not saying no history of working in a high risk environment. High risk. What is high risk environment?
high risk environment as in reduced ventilation.
Oh,
or
reduce only for now. Room reduce ventilation. Okay, right. Yes, is that so or anything else?
heavy metal factory workers, as in asbestos factories, and in coal
I mean, it should
mining
be, you cannot say heavy metal, ma. You should specifically ask questions. Any question?
farmers.
Okay, so one you should ask about the weather farming. Excellent. Okay, then that you should bring it out then. Whether they are in the agriculture, yes, farmers, then what else?
Whether they are is he a
Huh?
coal
Coal
mine
worker,
worker?
sorry, mines, whether they work in mines, yes, then அப்புறம் sorry, they are not in the mines, they are in the
Ma'am,
city,
construction and
they are
stone
in
breaking.
the roadside, okay, in your neighborhood area. Okay, so what else you ask? In your neighborhood,
Construction worker.
anybody?
Rodents, birds.
Enema?
Exposure to rodents, birds.
Exposure to cotton. Okay, whether they are doing some tailoring business. Okay, very good. Yes, where am I? Where?
Pet animals.
Apart from that.
Pet animals.
Huh?
Parrots, birds,
Oh,
rodents.
see, now we are industry. Now you have gone to the pets. The excellent good thing. I was looking for it, but before that, very good. Somebody answered about keeping pets, whether parrots or even cats and dogs. That's all important. Yes. We are still in the occupational.
Ma'am, quarry worker, shipbuilding industry.
Neighborhood கேட்டா நீ குவாரி ஒர்க்கர் நீங்க என்ன அங்கேயே இருக்கப்பா. Yes.
Ma'am.
Huh?
Bakes.
Sweepers, ma'am. Cleaners.
I didn't get you.
Sweepers, ma'am.
People work in bakeries.
Weavers,
Sweepers, ma'am. Sweepers. Cleanliness in
Sweepers. Hello.
sweepers,
They are prone to
bakery, ma, asking about bakery or even the flour. Okay, so not only the cotton and the farming products, even the flour. Okay, so that can make the patient go for the bronchospasm. So we should know what brings out the, I mean, not in this condition. I'm generally talking about respiratory system. Patient having recurrent episodes of the bronchospasm, we should go into their occupational details or exposure in depth to find out. Get the point?
okay, ma'am.
Okay, right. Right, yes. There is a condition called Monday morning illness. I don't know whether still it is in the book or not. So patient, during the weekend, they'll be better. Once they get back to the job, after 2 hours of exposure, they'll suddenly go in for the respiratory problem, like a breathing difficulty in women now. They cannot take the breath out. They cannot speak in sentences. The severe bronchospasm. So this is one explanation for that. Okay, so we have to get rid of that exposure again. They should not work anymore in that situation. They should be given some other work. Okay, so it's very, very important to get the proper history, right? Yes. Okay, good. Yes, personal history. And somebody said about keeping the pets, should get the history properly. Okay, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, good. Carry on.
Personal history: mixed diet consumer, not a smoker, alcoholic.
Yes. Anybody in the family? Any history of tuberculosis? Yes, very good. You have mentioned that. Super. Yes.
Tuberculosis,
Good.
connective tissue disorder in family.
Yes, excellent. Okay. No history of pets in the family. Very good. Yes. Good. Right. Summary.
A 26-year-old Mr. Singaram, a shopkeeper by occupation, presented with 8-degree fever, cough with extreme MRC grade 3 breathlessness for past 5 days without any comorbidity and adverse social habits, and also had no contact with tuberculosis and COVID-19 patients. From the history, the system involved could be the respiratory system.
respiratory system, and we already discussed, isn't it? This is the patient with acute febrile illness with the respiratory symptoms, and with the patient has developed breathlessness as a complication. So you can straight away say the patient is having where the patient need to be. So you are in the casualty. Where will you send the patient now?
Hello, ma'am.
Where will you send this patient to? To the medical ward or medical IMCU?
Ma'am, this patient I'll send to medical ward, ma'am.
Why?
Ma'am, he's not a severe patient, ma'am.
So your grade 3 dyspnea is not severe.
Ma'am, he's not having. There was no sign of pleural effusion and any complication. So
No. You should not develop complication. No, they'll end up in complication. So we already said, okay, I agree with you. There is no confusion. Okay, but we never know. We have to send for investigation. What is the urea level? And then this is only mentioning about respiratory rate, and you never know what about the blood pressure. Then if this age group is also not fitting, if it is more than 65, is going to be, so at least 3 out of 5, it is necessity to send the patient to IMCU. So we know only one. Okay, other 2 we have to wait for. It will look into send the patient to ICU, because he's dyspneic, where you need the oxygen treatment. Oxygen treatment does grade 3 breathlessness definitely is oxygen requirement, right? Okay, very good. Yes, go on.
general examination. Patient is conscious, oriented to time, place, and person, cooperative and communicating, moderately built and moderately nourished. No pallor, no icterus, no cyanosis, no clubbing or tar staining of the fingers, no generalized lymphadenopathy, no pedal, no external markers of TB are seen.
What are the external markers of tuberculosis? For the benefit of others, you have to mention that, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Tinea vesicolor, lupus. Hello, ma'am.
Tell me.
And then erythema nodosum.
What did you say first? So this is not very clear here. Yes.
Vesicolor, ma'am.
Enema? Flicton?
No, ma'am. Tinea vesicolor.
Tinea. Yo, the first thing itself you are saying tinea vesicolor. Okay. Yes. Then?
And then erythema nodosum can be seen, ma'am.
Okay.
And lupus
vulgaris.
Flicton.
Very good. Flicton. Yes.
And then scrofulodema.
Scrofulova. SCRO. Right. Okay. Scrofulodema. Yes. What is it? What is bull neck? Is the same?
Huh?
Bull neck. BULL. Bull neck. Is the same or it is different? The scrofulodema is the same as bull neck or something else? What is cholesterol abscess? Where do you get? What is gibbous?
I don't know, ma'am.
You don't know. You have to say it. Then?
Bull neck is in Cushing syndrome.
Enema?
Bull neck is in Cushing syndrome, ma'am.
Okay. Bull neck Cushing sa.
Diphtheria infection.
Very
Diphtheria
good. Yes.
infection.
Yes. Then?
Gibbous is seen in tuberculosis, ma'am.
What's that? Gibbous is
Gibbous is
tuberculosis.
seen
Yeah, what is
tuberculosis.
gibbous? Where do you get?
Ma'am, like in the spine, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, TB spine. Okay, how many vertebrae is affected? The single or more than single?
More than one.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a more than one vertebra, at least 2 vertebrae together. Okay, because of the supply. Okay, arterial supply. It's not a single vertebra is affected. So where you get the gibbous. Okay, right. Gibbous. It's a TB spine, right? Anything else?
Hello,
To
ma'am.
say tuberculosis, the markers for TB, simply no markers, you should not say more. You should say what are all the external markers. Okay, so they can have the tinea versicolor, agreed. Even with diabetes, you can have this tinea versicolor. Even with HIV, PLHA patients can have tinea versicolor. So what is specific for tuberculosis, we should mention. Okay, so write down what are the other points, Swati. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
okay, then yes.
Vitals,
Mm.
pulse 90 beats per minute, regular in rhythm,
Very good.
no specific character,
Mm.
normal volume, no radio or radiofemoral delay, no pulse depth, no thickening
Right.
of the wall, and pulse felt in other accessible peripheral vessels, and jugular venous pulse was not elevated,
Very good.
and blood pressure 110 systole, 70 diastole millimeter Hg, and respiratory rate is 23 beats per breaths per minute, and it's an
Very good.
abdominal type, and
Okay.
temperature is 99 degree Fahrenheit.
Okay, so in the male it is abdominal thoracic. In females, what is the pattern for breathing?
Females, it is abdominothoracic, ma'am.
Female also.
Males is thoracoabdominal.
நீ தானே இப்போ abdominal thoracic சொன்ன. Why you are changing the pattern?
I don't know, ma'am.
இது correct ma?
Actually, he is deceased. That's why he is having abdominothoracic of breathing.
So this fellow is abdominal thoracic. So
Yes,
which is
ma'am.
which is not right.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my god.
Male abdominal type of breathing. Females have.
Male is a thoracic abdominal.
Yes, ma'am.
Lemma. Okay, just check with Hutchison. So males it is abdominal thoracic. That's the right thing. Okay. So females it is thoracoabdominal because the intercostal muscles. These are the major muscles of action. Okay, in the females. Okay. So it's a thoracoabdominal pattern is the pattern in the females. Right. In males it is the abdominal thoracic. Unless they have some diaphragmatic weakness or something, there will be paradox. Okay, wow. This is the pattern. Don't change it. Right. Very good. Yes.
Examination of upper respiratory tract.
Mm.
Of nose and the nasal mucosa was normal.
Mm. And you also should mention about any intercostal. I mean, what is that, ma'am? Exactly. That's right. I just forgot the flow. Accessory muscles of respiration also you should say. Okay, whether they are acting or not.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes.
No deviated nasal septum. No lips and no sinus tenderness. And examination of oral cavity and oropharynx. No dental, no oral ulcers, no halitosis, no tobacco sticking on the teeth, and posterior pharyngeal wall is normal. Before respiratory
Yes.
examination, inspection, the chest wall appears to be symmetrical and elliptical in shape. No kyphosis or scoliosis. No supra or infraclavicular hollowness or fullness. No drooping of shoulders or intercostal indrawing. Trachea appears to be in midline. Apical impulse appears to be in normal position, medial to left midclavicular line. No abnormal pulsations, dilated veins, scars, and sinuses. Palpation, trachea is confirmed to be in midline. Apical impulse felt at fifth intercostal space, 1 cm medial to left midclavicular line. Respiratory movements decreased on the right side anterior region and on other sides equal on apical and posterior regions. Chest wall expansion during respiration is 3 centimeters and chest transverse diameter is 34 centimeter.
One nimsham. Go back to the palpation. chest wall expansion during respiration is 3 centimeter. Okay. Which side is better? So right and left, any hemithorax difference?
Hemithorax. Ma'am, I didn't.
You have to, okay, because you said there is decrease on the right side, respiratory movements, okay? So at least we have to mention about the right hemithorax and left hemithorax. Any problems?
Ma'am, can you teach us hemithorax measurement, ma'am?
Yes, we have to do the hemithorax measurement. Yes.
Ma'am, can you teach us about that, ma'am? Hemithorax.
Yeah, from the mid spine, okay? Bring to the front actually the same with the inch tape, isn't it? We are going to do the inch tape. That measurement we can do.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so the same way, right?
both
On the either side.
Difference, ma'am.
Pardon?
You take measurement on both sides and then take difference, ma'am.
If possible. Okay. Okay, right. Certainly. Okay. Oh, it's only expansion we are doing, isn't it? Sorry, we can do, but okay, that's okay. Agreed. No, sorry.
Okay.
Right. ஒரு நிமிஷம் இரு. Go back. That's why I got confused. Move. Respiratory movements decreased on the right side. So, this is the problem. You said right side anterior region. So, right hemithorax anteriorly. So, it is diminished, decreased.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we make it very clear, ma'am. Okay. So, that's why I got confused now, I think. So, these expansions should come above and the right hemithorax movements are decreased anteriorly.
Okay.
Posteriorly equal on both sides.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, right. Yes. So you mentioned that right hemithorax, ma'am. Don't say right side. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Right. Yes.
And percussion, direct percussion, clavicle is resonant on both sides. Supraclavicular region, right and left side was resonant. Infraclavicular, right side was dull and left side was resonant. And the mammary region, dull on the right side and left side was also dull. And in axillary, both right and left side was resonant. Infra-axillary region, both right and left side were resonant. Suprascapular, infrascapular, and interscapular regions in both right and left side were resonant.
Okay, one more thing is just since you mentioned, I just forgot in the history you are talking about all this what to say about the pet animals, all those things. Other one more important thing is history of, you talked about blood transfusion, any history of near drowning, any history of recent surgery. Why?
Surgery can cause suppuratory.
Aspiration, ma'am.
Exactly. So you should be thinking about the aspiration. Okay. So in the history, any history of near drowning. Okay, not about drowning. Drowning is completely drowned. So near drowning, and again anesthesia where the patient can be, where is the chances for aspiration. If at all patient develop breathlessness, the symptoms whatever mentioned here, after following surgery, then we can think of if the patient aspirated having problem. Okay. Right. Yes. Okay. Just remember that. Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry, ma. Go ahead. So, except for the right infraclavicular mammary, it is dull. Other areas are resonant. So, you put the left mammary also, it is dull.
Due to
Yes.
due to cardiac dullness.
But they don't mention that. Okay. Don't mention that. Yes. If you say something, that says the patient has got problem. What is routine? You should not do that. Yes. Then
Auscultation, bronchial sounds, tubular type heard in right infraclavicular and right mammary region. In other regions of right and left lungs, normal vesicular breath sounds with no added sounds. And the vocal resonance increased in right infraclavicular and right mammary regions, and normal other regions of right and left lung. Bronchophony, egophony, and whispering pectoriloquy positive in right infraclavicular and right mammary regions.
okay. Right. Yes. So, what is your diagnosis?
lung consolidation in the right side,
Mm.
ma'am. Upper and middle lobes of right lung. Probably due
Upper
to
and the middle lobe. How do you know this upper and middle lobe?
due to involvement of infraclavicular and mammary regions. They might.
No, don't mock. Middle lobe is represented only in axilla.
Okay.
Okay, so your infraclavicular mammary is only upper lobe.
Okay, ma'am.
So anteriorly, right? And the middle lobe usually it can be picked up by the X-ray only or the invasive, the imaging procedures only. Okay, so we cannot pick up the middle lobe problem clinically, very difficult. So all the lower lobe is represented posteriorly and the upper lobe anteriorly, and the apex we know, right, with the supraclavicular and the suprascapular region. But middle lobe representation is in the axilla. Always it's picked up in the, and again, as we said earlier, it is a near drowning where the aspiration is more common the right. Okay, right middle lobe can be picked up only with the imaging procedures. Okay, remember that. Yes, yes. Then what is the you said tubular breathing, isn't it? So what are the other differential diagnosis? Is a patient with the dull resonance, and you said tubular breathing, isn't it? What are the conditions which produce dullness on the, respiratory movement is diminished and your respiratory, the percussion is dull. What are the conditions?
Collapse
Tell
in
me
lungs.
What in collapse?
Collapse in lungs and
Then what else? What else can cause the dull note and the diminished respiratory movement? What are all the differential diagnoses where patient will have the reduced chest expansion and the patient has got the dullness on percussion?
Pleural effusion.
Very good. So pleural effusion, consolidation, okay, and as you said, the collapse, fibrosis. Okay, clear?
okay, ma'am.
So first thing, how do you differentiate from collapse and fibrosis from consolidation? First thing, first and foremost difference.
Trachea will be
Anybody?
put to the same side in fibrosis and collapse.
Yes, so the patient will have the mediastinal pull. Okay, very good. So the patient will have the mediastinal pull will be there, same side. Okay, in where you get the mediastinal push?
Seen in pneumothorax.
Yes, pleural effusion. So these are the conditions where there will be a push. Okay, so how do you differentiate? Purposefully, I didn't mention about pneumothorax. Why I have not mentioned pneumothorax in this condition?
And because it will be resonant, ma'am. If the
Yes, so that is why. Okay, so there will be reduction in the chest expansion. Okay, chest movements will be reduced, but the patient will have the percussion note will be hyperresonant. Okay, so that is the one differentiating from the pleural effusion from the pneumothorax. So you should write down your findings, saying this is what this is. So whether this is a common condition, whether it's a consolidation, fibrosis, or these two things are basically it is going to be parenchymal disease. Whereas the pleural diseases will be common thing is pleural effusion and the pneumothorax. How to differentiate these two? Okay, so regarding depending upon the mediastinal pull or the push, and then about the percussion finding, and then about the auscultation.
okay,
Right? In the auscultation, what will you get in auscultation for the pleural effusion and pneumothorax?
pleural rub will be seen, ma'am.
எதுலையுமே pleural rub வராதுமா. One, see, to have the pleural rub, there should not be anything between the two layers of pleura. So only the two layers of pleura should be rubbing, isn't it? Once there is an accumulation of either air or whether the patient has got the fluid, you won't get the rub. It will disappear. Okay, the presence will be diminished.
Okay.
Okay, whereas in case of the, as you said in the consolidation, you are going to hear the tubular breath sounds. Why tubular breath sounds? What is tubular breath sounds?
Tubular breath sounds is a high pitched sound, ma'am.
What is the
And-
tube basically here?
Bronchi and
Trachea. Okay, whatever you hear over a trachea, same thing you are going to hear over the consolidated lung.
okay, ma'am.
You get the point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is basically as you said, it's a high pitch bronchial breath sounds. Okay, right? So what else will be there with the inspiration and expiration? The idea. So you should know how to draw the inspiratory phase and the expiratory phase with a gap.
Okay,
Right?
ma'am.
Yes, very good, excellent. Right, then. So what will be happening in fibrosis? Apart from mediastinal thing, what else will be there? Mediastinum is talking about trachea and as well as apical impulse. Upper mediastinum is trachea and the lower mediastinum we are talking about apical impulse. Okay, what else you get in fibrosis? What are the other inspectory findings?
Inspectory findings, ma'am.
Anymore?
I don't know, ma'am.
Come on, apart from Swati, yes, anybody quickly?
Hollowness, drooping of the.
Yes, all wasted. Okay, there is a wasting everywhere. As you said, it's a hollowing of the supraclavicular, infraclavicular, suprascapular. Okay, there's apart from that, what else?
Drooping of shoulder.
Very good, drooping of the shoulder. Then one more. Don't forget back. Posteriorly.
Prominence of scapula, ma'am.
Audio clear இல்ல ஸ்வாதி இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் சவுண்டா எஸ்
Prominence of spine of scapula.
winging of the scapula.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, not a prominence of the spine of the scapula அதெல்லாம் மேல டாப்ல இருக்கும்ல கீழே. Okay, so the patient will have winging of the scapula, right? So these are the classic pictures for the wasting. Okay, otherwise it is the fibrosis, the volume is lost. That is the main thing, volume loss basically, right?
Okay.
But here these are all chronic process, whereas in our condition it is the acute process where there is only the infection and inflammation going on, right? So why what is the mechanism for the tubular breath sounds, high pitched bronchial breath sounds, Swati?
Ma'am, I don't have clear understanding about that, ma'am, tubular type.
You don't understand or you don't understand the question?
No, ma'am, I don't understand the tubular type of.
Okay,
General.
so we already said what is tube, we said.
Yes,
Tube
ma'am.
is
Trachea.
trachea. So what we hear there is the typical bronchial breath sounds, okay, high pitched sound. As we go down, okay, so basically the breath sounds are accentuated actually. The attenuation is a loss of, there is a filtering mechanism. Okay, there is a filtering, okay, is that I'm getting the loss. So the over the lung parenchyma, over the back or down, what we hear over the all the areas, no? What is the breath sounds we hear?
Vesicular breath sound.
Vesicular breath sound. So from the bronchial breath sounds to the vesicular breath sounds. Okay, that is the filtration happening.
Okay, ma'am.
You get the point? So from the bronchial breath sounds to the vesicular breath sounds. So here in the over the area of consolidation, the filtration is not there. That's why you get the bronchial breath sounds. Okay, maybe you can go in depth more. I'll get you later, but just for the next time, for the want of things, this is the basic things, right? And also depending upon the in between, see from the chest wall to the lung parenchyma. Okay, if there is something in between also, like the fluid or air, again you may not be hearing the what is that term?
Vesicular.
Conduction of the sounds. Okay, there are some important words are there. You cannot be, swapping the words. So the conduction also will be impaired by the media. right? So if the media contain air or fluid in between the chest wall and the lung, again the sounds are damped. You cannot hear the vesicular blood sounds. So you will have the reduced blood sounds.
Okay.
Get the point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Yes. Then, so same way, vocal resonance increased. Okay, so wherever you hear the bronchial breath sounds, your vocal resonance will be increased. Same way, you should mention about the vocal fremitus. You have not mentioned that, no?
Yes, ma'am.
That should be mentioned in palpation. Okay, so vocal fremitus, tactile fremitus. Okay, tactile fremitus is palpable sounds. Vocal fremitus again palpable, but after uttering the sound, after uttering one, the same way for vocal resonance, you are going to feel it. Okay.
Okay.
So, but anyway, the auscultation is confirmatory one, right? Very good. So, what is bronchophony? What is egophony? Whispering pectorology. You should know what is what. Okay, all these things will be increased where the patient is having consolidation, right? Right. So, what is the other? What is other type of the bronchial breath sounds? One is the high pitched tubular breath sounds. Other is
Cavernous breath sounds.
cavernous. Okay, again, these are patient with a cavity. Okay, so low pitch cavernous breath sounds where the patient is having fibrosis along with the cavity. Okay, so it's a chronic process, right? Where you hear that one, right? Shariya, just remember that. Yes. Okay. So how do you confirm it? Amphoric breath sounds, excellent. Okay. What is amphoric breath sounds?
It's a low pitched sound.
Okay.
The
With a metallic character. Okay. It's also thin walled cavities. With actually it is with the what else? No, that will be in communication with the superficial bronchus. Something and all will be there. Even I am not heard of it. Okay. Right. Yes.
Then in investigations.
How will you confirm?
Huh?
How will you confirm your diagnosis?
The chest X-ray, ma'am.
Very good, excellent. Yes.
And then full blood count, ESR and
Very good.
celiac.
Yes. Very good.
Electrolytes to rule out severity.
So okay. So what are the common organisms? What is the in a community? What is CAP? Yes. What is CAP?
Community acquired pneumonia, ma'am.
Very good. What is the commonest organisms?
Pneumococcus infections is the most
Very
common.
good.
And
pneumonia is Streptococcus pneumonia.
Streptococcus pneumonia.
Okay. Very good.
In elderly, it will be Haemophilus influenza.
Very good.
And in case of in people working in offices with AC ventilation, they can have Legionella.
Another Legionella. Okay, right. Before that, CAP and common organisms apart from your streptococcal pneumonia, Haemophilus influenza. Should not forget about the atypical pneumonias also. Okay, Mycoplasma pneumoniae, right? But anyway, this is the patient, okay, having the upper lobe involvement, isn't it? So upper lobe pneumonia common in which condition? What are the infections which produce upper lobe pneumonia? Is it common with the gram-positive infections? Should be knowing what are the gram-positive infection, gram-negative infection, anaerobic infections.
Okay.
Mycobacterial. Which are all the conditions which is common?
I don't know clearly about that, ma'am.
Ma'am, upper lobe is caused by Klebsiella, ma'am.
Kiran, clear or Kiran? Sorry, little more sound actually. Yes.
Klebsiella, ma'am. Upper lobe involvement is most commonly by Klebsiella in alcoholics and.
Inge problem tell. One nimsham irukku. அது ஆஃப் பண்ணி தான் வச்சிருந்தேன். அப்படின்னு ஒரு சவுண்ட் தான். I'm not getting. Hello, Swati. Sorry. Yeah, with the sound கேட்கல பாருங்க. எங்கேயோ ரிமோட்ல பேசுற மாதிரி இருக்கு. ஆமா, ஒரு அடுத்த நிமிஷம். இந்த கரெக்டான ஒரு சத்தம் அது மட்டும் தான் கேட்குது நிறைய. Swati, hello.
Ma'am,
Yeah. Yes. Yes, carry on, ma. Sorry, ma. The sound is not very clear. I'm just getting much of trouble. So much of turbulence or some trouble there in listening to you. Yes. Yes, Kiran, you are saying something. What are the?
Ma'am, for the upper
Ma'am,
lobe
this is
pneumonia, it was Klebsiella pneumoniae causes upper lobe pneumonia.
Very good. Klebsiella is gram negative or mycobacteria?
Oh, it's a gram negative, ma'am.
Gram negative. What are the conditions predisposing to the gram negative infection? Is it routine to have gram negative infection?
No idea, ma'am.
No, ma'am, it's
No idea. No idea. சொல்லக்கூடாது. ஏற்கனவே pneumonia படிச்சு வந்துடணும். Okay, that is why we say any history of recent hospitalization. Okay, so reason whether in the hospital, what are the infections they can acquire. So you should know what are all the types of scheme. Why we insist on all these things? We should not delay in the treatment, empirical treatment. Now, like how we start the drug for infective endocarditis, even for pneumonia, okay, we can start on the treatment. Okay, so we should know what is the, not waiting for because the sputum culture and all will take a couple of days. We should not wait for that. Okay, for the empirical treatment also we should know whether it is a community acquired pneumonia or the hospital acquired pneumonia, or patient is on the neutropenic condition, or whether the patient has got the PLHA patient. Okay, so wait, and again one more thing is, if the patient is having, as you mentioned about recurrent respiratory tract infection like a bronchiectasis, what is the organism common in bronchiectasis?
Pseudomonas.
Pseudomonas. Here we need not wait. We can start with the third generation cephalosporins. Okay, the same way. So we should be knowing common infections and common conditions. So where we can start on the empiric treatment. Empiric treatment, and then once we get the culture sensitivity, the sputum culture sensitivity, then we can modify we can start on the appropriate treatment.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, that is the importance. So that is why you said, when you said about the patient staying in the hotels where the AC is all, nowadays it's gone with the Legionnaires infection. So patient should be started on for the Legionnaires pneumonia. What is the drug? Erythromycin, no?
Levofloxacin, ma'am.
Huh?
Levofloxacin, ma'am.
Levofloxacin. Okay, we can give levofloxacin. And if there is what is Listeria produce? Listeria monocytogenes.
Listeria.
Okay, it's not pneumonia, right? So usually in the pregnant ladies, after eating the tinned cheese and some tinned food, actually they can have the fever and altered sensorium. Okay, right. Listeria, just read about that. This is the infections, very common things. Okay, right. Then what is the organisms with the pet animals? Somebody said about pet animals.
Psittacosis, ma'am. Chlamydia psittacosis.
Psittacosis, very good. Chlamydia psittacosis. So what is it? Coxiella burnetii. Where do you get the Coxiella infections from?
In hide factories, ma'am.
Anymore?
Factory workers, ma'am. Animal hide factory workers.
Animals, very good. Okay, so we can start the treatment according to that. Okay, basically they are all tetracycline group, not doxycycline. They can be started on the doxy. Okay, so knowing the risky situation, okay, the atmosphere and probable organism, these are all giving you an idea about the empirical therapy. There is an empirical therapy given in the book for pneumonia. So we should know what are all the risk factors and what are all the possibilities, and then we should start on that. Okay, very good. So what are the complications of pneumonia?
It can be pneumonic effusion, ma'am. Parapneumonic effusion. Pleural effusion.
Very good. Pneumonic effusion, parapneumonic effusion. Very good. Then
Empyema.
very good.
And then
Yes பண்றீங்களா டக்கு டக்குன்னு சொல்றீங்களா? Yes.
respiratory distress syndrome. Ma'am.
Yes.
Deep vein thrombosis.
Deep vein thrombosis. Hello? Why deep vein thrombosis?
Infection, septic.
Swati, now again it became the sounds become remote.
I don't clearly know. I can.
Okay, you have to read. Okay, you have to study. So even hemoptysis can happen. So why we should know this? These are the complications we expect. Okay, so when the respiratory failure can happen, first of all, what is respiratory failure? With that we'll stop. What are the types of respiratory failure this patient can go in for? Your patient anyway.
Can go in for type 2 respiratory.
Type 2, straight away. What is type 1? What is type 2?
I mean, type 1, there will be decreased PaCO2
Yes.
and also decreased PO2, ma'am.
Decrease PaO2 and decrease PCO2. Why?
Due to hypoxia.
PaO2 is hypoxia, agree. Why PCO2 also decreased? Patient is hyperventilating. Okay, they are taking too many breaths, isn't it? Instead of just the 16 breaths, they are having more than 16 per minute. 23, they may take more than that also. So they'll be having loss of the PCO2, hyperventilating. So the initial thing will be patient will be PaO2 will be reduced and PCO2 will be reduced. Agree with you? So patient need only the oxygen treatment. Whereas the condition where they become exhausted, they cannot take the breath more. So where the patient start having PCO2 retention. So that is going to be a type 2 respiratory failure where they need the supportive ventilation in the form of mechanical ventilation to help them out. Okay, so we should know what exactly is going on, right? And not only that, not only the extent of the severity of the respiratory problem, also the electrolyte disturbances. If the patient is not taking adequate nutrition, okay, if they have associated hypokalemia, again there also they can have the muscle weakness. Patient cannot take the deep breath. So we should know what exactly causing the problem and we should address to it. Okay, just one point to that. Okay, read well. Okay, so not pointing towards just the pneumonia alone. That is very important. Read about theory, pneumonia, what are all the, how do you classify approach to pneumonia, classification of pneumonia, what are all the clinical features and the organisms, empirical treatment, very, very important. And apart from that, approach to fever, approach to cough with expectoration, how we make out the diagnosis, that's all very, very important. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Any questions, Swati? Anybody else? Kiran? Gyaneshwar?
No questions.
No questions. Like, I know you all will be exhausted and tired. Yes.
I think no one has any questions, ma'am.
It's all over. Class over. Can we wind up?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I have a doubt, ma'am.
Yes. Gyaneshwar, yes.
Ma'am, can a tuberculosis patient we can suspect in this case?
Make it little more clear, Paul. Yes.
Ma'am, can we suspect tuberculosis in this case?
Yes. So this is what is the duration of the illness?
Ma'am, in TB that's more than 14 days.
So in this patient, what is the duration?
5 days, ma'am.
5 days.
Only 5 days. Okay, we never know. This is only the 5 days duration, and also patient is producing what type of the sputum?
Yellow color sputum.
Yellow color. Is it common? Is it common with the tuberculosis? No, isn't it? Usually bacterial infections, we think this is a yellow color, green. Green color is typical of the Pseudomonas, but normally we say bacterial infection. Mycobacteria, it is mainly either they present only with a fever or sometimes only with a cough. Okay, there could be a nodal tuberculosis or parenchymal tuberculosis, unlikely. More than, first thing itself is a duration, more than 2 weeks. Isn't it?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yes. Okay, that's why I said, if you are given only the X-ray, tell the diagnosis, then tuberculosis comes first because it's the upper lobe. You understand what I mean? So when they correlate with the clinical symptoms, the diagnosis become different. So first thing is, clinically you should know what we are doing, or what is the patient is having. Then coordinate with the investigation and then correlate with the investigation and should be the prompt management for the patient. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Swati. It's a good presentation. You've done wonderfully. That's nice. Thanks, Kiran.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.